afternoon. This is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates, bringing you the TrueView severe outlook. We're going to take a look here at the SPC outlook for the rest of today. There's a slight to marginal risk of severe to our west. Most of that is diminishing as a line to the west has fallen apart. But the chance for some storms popping back up this evening into the overnight and tomorrow does exist. So, as such, there is a marginal risk of severe across most of central Indiana, with a slight risk farther to the southeast. Most of that slight risk would be with storms that would pop up in the afternoon tomorrow. Our marginal risk would be with some potential for some storms in the morning. I'm going to take a look here at the current radar, and what we can see is what's left of a line out here to the west. It fell apart, kicked off a little bit of a boundary, so we can see a couple little cells popped up and moved across southeastern Anderson, and as they got into Delaware County, they began to dissipate. We do expect some more activity to pop up during the evening. So I'm going to take a look here at some model data, and this is the HRRR model at Pivotal Weather. And we're going to take a look, and this will just show you how really isolated. I went back to the 12Z because it's going to cover more, and so far it's done pretty well with what the line to the west did. So we're going to take a look here at how this should play out. This will be as we get into the afternoon. Of course, the cells are gone. You can see there are just some isolated stuff with a piece of energy mostly to our north. I do think that the HRRR might be a little bit underdone, but here at about 11 p.m., you can see it just some popcorn cells, just these little waves of energy that are traveling along from our northwest and from our west, and there's enough energy available that is going to trigger some storms, and where some of these storms could be locally severe. As you can see, though, in this popcorn nature, is we're going to be back to one of those where odds are most of us are going to stay dry, but where somebody does get a storm, it could be severe and it could drop some locally heavy rain. Nothing like what fell a couple of days ago, but locally quick downpours nonetheless. And we move on into the overnight hours, and you can see just the isolated nature. Then we can see another piece of energy develop out here to the west across uh, south central Illinois into southern Illinois. I do think that the HRRR might be a touch too far south with this, but we'll take a look at it anyway because it's done reasonably well. And we move on into this would be 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. You can see it's got a cluster that drops off by the HRRR, drops off to our south. I do think there's a chance again that this activity could be a little bit farther north and could be a little more widespread than what the model is putting out. The NAM 3K isn't excited about it really at all. So the HRRR, I just chose it because it was doing a little bit better. I think that the global models like the European high res are overdone with the storm potential, so I didn't put those on here either. I just kind of chose the middle ground. So we'll continue on, and as we get into the late morning, really activity should pretty much die down. But you can see there's still some energy around in the afternoon hours, and so something isolated could pop up during the afternoon. Again, if it does with the heat of the day, it could potentially be severe. The odds are pretty low, but you can see this is by 7 p.m. tomorrow. There is still just some residual energy around. And then as we move on through the into the early morning hours of Sunday, you can see the next wave potentially coming. And that'll be for another forecast. But I just really wanted to deal with the potential for severe. Again, it's going to be very isolated in nature, or pretty isolated. Our best chance to me comes with a wave in the morning between about maybe the 6 to say 8 or 9 a.m. time frame. I think is when we might be looking for some potentially wider spread storm threat. And again, it could be severe. but it's also possible, again, this just with this convective nature and just enough energy to pop some things up. It's possible we could stay totally dry. It's possible the entire county could get some rain. There's just no way to know for sure. So we'll keep you updated as we go on into the evening. If things begin to pop up, I'll of course keep you updated. If need be, I'll ask Byron to help me out as well. But I will keep you updated. And so I'm going to give you a quick. I may tweak this some, but here's a quick peek at the 7 day forecast. And one thing I will note for you: our next rain chance probably comes Monday. Yeah, maybe a little bit of residual energy on Tuesday. That remains to be seen. But a front will come through on Monday, could bring some storms, maybe some strong storms. We'll see how that pans out. And then we'll calm down for several days and maybe a week or so. I will note that my forecast right now is warmer than most of the data. And yeah, I think we're going to recover a little quicker than what the model data does. And then I think as we get into next weekend, then we'll begin to see the expected return of some heat around the 20th or so. Some of the model data is picking that up, but again, here I'm going to show you what I don't normally do this, but I'm going to show you why I don't use the models. Uh, here's the um, here's the GFS. So you can see it's much cooler all week long, and then look at the heat that it wants to pop around beginning August 20th through about the 24th. It wants to drive us mid to upper 100s. Could it happen? It could, but I really think that kind of heat's going to stay out to our west where it mostly has been this summer. Then you take a look at the European, it really doesn't want anything to do with it all, although it just begins to get into this is August 20th, so it just begins to get into it, but I'll show you the EPS here in a second. Take a look at the blend of models, again around the 20th, mid upper 80s. I think that's legit, maybe a shot at 90 degrees, in that 20th to 24th time frame. Um, Here's probably, I think, the most legitimate look. This is the GEFS. This is the blend of the ensembles for the uh, GFS model. These models, the GFS, I think runs 31 different ensembles, and this is the blend of all of them. Again, upper 80s, shot around 90 or so. I do think that's legitimate, and then we'll see how things play out beyond that. The EPS, the European ensembles, not nearly so excited. Goes to about the mid 80s for a few days, and then it cools back down. So we'll see how that works out as it approaches. I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek, even though this is a severe update. Just a little sneak peek down the road. But again, I'll stick with my own forecast for now, but just know that it's possible I may have to cool my forecast down a little bit, and we'll just see how it goes. It does happen once in a while. This may be one of those occasions. So, in the meantime, this is Michael Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. If you can support this page, if you do support this page, thank you so much. If you have donated recently, you have helped me out immensely. Alex bringing TrueView on, massive help. But I still just kind of tread water with this page. So if you haven't donated and you can, please do so. If you can subscribe and be a monthly supporter, please do so. The information for how to do it is in a pin post at the top of Facebook and at the top of Twitter. And I'll post them with the forecast this evening as well. And thank you all for trusting me with your weather forecast. So this is Michael Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. This has been a rather extended TrueView severe update. Thank you very much.